Hey, what's up everyone? I just wanted to make a video explaining Ashes of Creation's combat. And historically, people describe MMOs with either action, tab, or hybrid. And if you were going to use that, people would call Ashes of Creation hybrid. But that doesn't really satisfy me. I want to explain it a little more in depth. And so I have this concept I've always had in my head called the MMO combat spectrum. So instead of just having three different terms, you have a little spectrum here, and maybe I can popularize this and people can utilize it. I don't know. But anyways, to sort of explain it, when people say action combat, they typically mean down here. And when they say tab target combat, they mean up here. And kind of what I mean by that is for the north and south regions here, at the top we have global cooldowns, animation independent, and instant cast, which if you've played World of Warcraft, there is a lot of this. A lot of instant casts that trigger global cooldowns, and the animation is just there, for satisfaction. And here at the bottom we have action combat, aka fighting game mechanics, where say you press a button, there's an animation that starts up, and then part of the way through the animation there's active frames, that's where you can hit somebody, and then after you hit somebody or after you miss, you have recovery frames. And effectively your whole character is locked in this animation throughout. Black Desert has a lot of that. A lot of Korean MMOs have that. Fighting games have that, like I said. And then on the other ends, the east and west, we have targeting, whether that be tab or with a reticle or something, and then no targeting. And obviously, reticle targeting is a lot more rare, but you see it in some Korean games. You see it in Guild Wars 2. We do see it in Ashes of Creation, so I listed it there, but mostly it's tab. So just a few examples here. Final Fantasy has almost full targeting as far as I'm aware. I haven't played this game very much, and it has very little action combat. World of Warcraft's up there too. It has a little bit of action combat because you could put something like Heroic Leap up here, or the Monk Roll, or the Demon Hunter's Dash. They do trigger global cooldowns, but it's working its way down here. Art Gauge is a bit more tab target, but it has a little bit of action combat stuff going on. Wild Stars, like in a world of its own where there was no targeting, but it was still mostly global cooldowns and instant casts and animation independent things. So I don't even know what else belongs in this part of the graph other than Wild Star. And then down here there's no targeting and it's all this action combat stuff, which is Black Desert, a lot of other Korean MMOs, Vindictus, Dragon Nest, stuff like that. And then we get into the really interesting and difficult to explain parts like Guild Wars 2 and Ashes of Creation, where you might be wielding a melee weapon like these daggers here. And as you can see, he's still WASDing around, but his upper body with the daggers is going through the startup active recovery thing. So it's truly in the middle because the lower half of the body is animation independent. You can just walk around like nothing's happening. But the upper half of your body is doing this. So Guild Wars 2 and Ashes, at least for some of these auto attacks, and probably a lot of other skills, they show off like a whirlwind ability later, and you can move around while you're doing the whirlwind. They're truly hybrid abilities. But the thing is, both of these games are very open-ended build-wise, and you like say the warrior in Guild Wars 2, you might put it somewhere over here because it's very action combat-like. There's not a lot of abilities you can use that are instant cast or animation independent. There's no global cooldowns in Guild Wars 2 and Ashes, so it's really hard to put them like way up here. But there could be a build that has a lot of tab targeting and a lot of instant cast stuff. Like in Guild Wars 2, Elementalist has a weapon called Scepter, and it has a lot of instant cast abilities. And they require targeting, whereas the warrior is more over here. So Ashes of Creation could be all over the place in these three quadrants. It's hard for me to say that there would be much up here. Like I said, Wildstar is kind of an outlier. So you might have Ashes build X here, Ashes build Y here, where it's still mostly action combat stuff, but still requires a lot of targeting. The interesting thing about Guild Wars 2 is there's a lot of abilities that didn't require targeting, but targeting was a straight up advantage in Guild Wars 2 because it made your abilities home. So like if somebody was trying to dance around you, just target them and stand still and press your button and it would home on them. So there was almost never a reason not to target in Guild Wars 2, but I don't think that's going to be the case in Ashes of Creation. I think there's legit going to be some builds where like you don't even really care about targeting people. You know, ones that are down here. And up here we'll have like Ashes build Z. So it's really going to be build dependent where you end up. You know, if you're really familiar with World of Warcraft's play, you might be able to make a mage build that's pretty similar to like Warlock, where you're just tab targeting and dotting up everybody. You're going to be up here gameplay wise, whereas a build more like I like to play with Black Desert, I'm going to try to make builds like this, you know? So it's just, you can kind of craft the kind of playstyle you want. What? So I think that's really cool, and we're going to see all kinds of different playstyles, I think. Unfortunately, I usually like to play what the strongest thing is, so I'll just end up being somewhere in here. We'll see. So, anyways, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about, and hopefully that wasn't too complex or confusing. Hopefully it cleared things up, and thanks for watching.